Inside Leominster is brought to you through the generous support of Colonial Insulation Company, residential and commercial insulation and fireproofing services, specializing in blown-in cellulose as well as spray foam insulation. For more information, visit their website, colonialinsulation.com. And by Medical Arts Hearing Instruments, 52 West Street in Leominster, locally and authentically providing better hearing and quality of life since 1978. www.donotshout.com.
Welcome to Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella, the mayor for the city, and we are taping the show tonight because as the show runs on October 3rd, we will be at the Air Force Band concert at City Hall. And so if you're watching and you're catching the beginning of this, show at City Hall starts at 7, so mosey on down. And so that's why we're pre-taping the show. But anyway, we have a guest today, and we're going to search for Art. Is Art there already? Or whenever you get Art on the phone, pass them through. So we couldn't do a show without having Art on the phone with us today. So we'll still be doing Photos of the Week. And we have a guest. Jim LeBlanc is the director at the Emergency Management Center here in Leominster. And we're going to get a little chance to talk to Jim about a whole lot of things that are happening down at Emergency Management, and talk a little bit about the chance for people to volunteer. But before that, let me know when you get out on the phone. We will tell you that next week, I think begins the week of the 7th. Leominster Public Works will begin with their flushing program. They're going to flush the entire system. Flushing will take place between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. beginning Monday, October 14th. I was saying the 7th, it's the 14th. And it'll continue weekdays from 7 to 7 until completed. So if your water gets a little rusty, a little bit of discoloration, by all means, unless it's some sort of a big emergency like a hot water tanker went or something, understand that it's just us flushing the system. Do we have Art on? The Household Hazardous Waste and Yard Collection is coming up. So, November 16th is the 9 to noon at the DPW, and we will also be doing paper shredding on site. So, it's the Household Hazardous Waste and Yard Collection Day. We're putting it on there so you sort of write it down. Art, how are you, buddy?
Good. Got the wife out of the hospital. That was the big thing.
I saw that. She must be so happy to be home.
Yeah, healthcare just left here 10 minutes ago, so we're making progress.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I'm happy to hear
Thanks for
that.
asking.
Yes.
I know one thing.
Yes.
If the people that are on Route 2 in the morning, west and east, would just slow down to 60, it wouldn't be a parking lot every morning because there are cars all over the road.
Right.
It's like the last lap at Daytona.
It's moving in and out. I mean, some days people going by me doing 80, 90 miles a mile. That's one thing. But they're moving lanes. They're in the breakdown lane, and then they cut through. And those are the people who got to get off the road. I know texting's a big thing and all that.
Please.
But honestly, this is the problem is the aggressive drivers.
This morning, the eastbound lane was stopped from Searstown to Abbott Ave. Then there was a break of about 2 miles. Then from Westminster to Gardner, stopped.
Really?
So there were blue lights, 2 different accidents.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they're just people that I think it's the aggressive drivers. To be honest with you, I see them, and they don't get
aggressive drivers.
They don't get in the accident; they cause them.
Yes, no question about it. About sometime in August, I was on my way home from golf, and this guy was on my bumper. I mean, if I touched my brake, he would have hit me. That's how close he was. So So I'm waiting to get over to get out of his way, and I finally did. And he went by me, and there was a guy on his tail and another guy, and I said, "You guys are asking for trouble."
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
I had just got to the beginning of No Town Reservoir coming home. Just before you go by it, there's a pull-off area. I see dust flying. They did it, and believe it or not, this is a classic. They rear-ended a wrecker.
Wow.
I said,
Unbelievable.
"Well, this is convenient.
Yeah, they pick them right up and haul them right out.
Talk about hook and toe."
Hook and toe, mow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I said, I went by, I was smiling. I said, "That'll teach you. That'll teach you."
I'm telling you.
Demolition derby.
That's the worst. I mean, there are things, there are accidents, but this is just insane because imagine a newer driver and an older driver, how
geez.
frightening it must be to see these people moving in and out and they're passing on the right and yikes.
And you know, I look in my rearview mirror whenever it's moderate traffic, and there can be 100 yards, and you'll see somebody coming, and you know they're flying.
Right.
You know, but it's pouring rain here. I don't know about downtown, but
Just started.
this is a good thing.
There's this big cloud over us.
This is a good thing. That's about all I got, and thank God
Well-
I don't have to commute to Worcester anymore for a while.
Yeah, that's right. I'm
But
glad.
that was unbelievable.
I'm
The
glad
official count, by the way,
Yes.
since you're a numbers guy with the elections, 110 figs this year.
110.
Yes.
And I ate my 10.
We got more if I can get downtown. We'll see what I can do.
I will not, I will share some of these this time.
Okay.
All right, Art.
Thank you.
That was the Art Report. Art Bartlett joins us every week, bring us up to speed on what's happening in his world, and people love it. So they ask us to keep it on. They ask us to, whatever you do, don't eliminate Art off the show. And I said, well, we wouldn't think of doing that.
Get some nice feedback.
He's got some good stuff, so I wouldn't even dare doing it. But anyway, tonight's guest, I should say, yeah, we're taping the show ahead of time, but tonight's guest is Jim LeBlanc. He's the Director of Emergency Management here in the city of Leominster, located on Carter Street. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And good to have you. Emergency Management does, the umbrella is pretty wide.
It's very wide, and we have many roles under the fire department, police department. We're not the frontline responders, but we're in the background, helping out as best we can.
Just had that fire in Fitchburg.
Yes.
EMA was on the scene, Leominster
Yeah.
Fire.
Right.
Just
Yeah, we
team
had,
effort to
Half the fire department was there, and we had 4 vehicles, and 9 of our volunteers were there.
right.
Pretty much till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, I didn't realize you were there that long.
Yeah.
And so talk a little bit about the services that you provide to the team.
In that particular
Yes.
case, we provided canteen service to all the firefighters in Fitchburg. We assisted the Salvation Army and Red Cross with helping out with those people that were displaced, like 50, 60 people. And we even brought up the transport bus because it was, for a period of time, we couldn't get into the Anthony's Church because they couldn't locate anyone to get it unlocked. So we were going to move them to Leominster and stage them out of there. But then we used one of our trucks for lighting, additional lighting on the backside of the building. So it's a variety of roles, strictly backup, and making sure that we have plans in place.
It's a good opportunity for people that either might be retired or even younger people who might have a little time and they think, I'd like to give back to my community, not sure how. There are so many different components of emergency management.
Right now, we're getting a lot of different retired military,
Right.
and they are really effective. They got
Sure.
a lot of discipline, and they know how to work. So, and they're retired. They come in, and I can tell you the past week, getting prepared for an open house, you could see that they had a lot of discipline in getting things cleaned up.
Tell us a little bit about the different pieces. So if I'm a person that says, I have some skills, but I just like to volunteer. Tell us the different places that, so many different pieces of it.
There is. We have an admin unit, which is right now they're working out the open house, working out the details of that. They're also
Which is coming up October 12th.
October 12th from 10 to 3.
Yep.
There's also participants there that are involved with our new video system. So we can actually link to LTV and live stream. We can also Go YouTube and Twitter, right directly from Emergency Operations Center. We have an operation unit, which operations is could be sandbagging, cutting trees, pumping cellars. It's a whole variety. The canteen service goes all over Worcester County.
Right.
And
the canteen service is basically a way to rehab the crews that might be out there, to feed them up with liquids and food.
What it's done is it reduced the firefighter injuries for the last 40 years that we've been doing this.
Right.
And you don't have we're hydrating them, we're getting food into them, and basically they're not going down like they used to.
Right. We're taping the show tonight ahead of time, but you can reach Jim at 978-534-7580. Maybe you're going to retire soon, or maybe you have some extra time. Maybe the kids are out of the house now and you got some little extra time, and you're thinking about, how exactly I might be able to give back to my community. And so this is a perfect opportunity. But the best thing to do is to call, set up some time, go down and talk to Jim, and see where you might fit. And sometimes it's a matter of moving people around a little bit to see, why don't you try this out, kind of exploratory. Try this out, see how you like it, until you find that, something that you're comfortable with that really puts you in the position to deliver your talents.
I just had that just a few days ago. One of the fellows was in communication, and I just saw his skill level with video system, Tyler, and that worked out very well.
That's amazing.
I switched them around.
And the level of talent around here is just incredible.
If people come in and see that building and realize it was built by volunteers and trade school kids, they're going to be a bit surprised.
Yeah, and it's quite the facility. It's the old Try Some Potato Chip. 36, is it, Carter Street?
37 Carter Street. Yeah.
And part of the open house, they're going to have the Worcester Railers tracks will be, he's the mascot. And he or she is also going to be at the open house from 10 to 11:30. You can visit with Trax while we explore all the EMA has to offer. Attendees could win tickets to that night's game. Got the open house. You can show people, bring them around.
Oh, yeah.
And when you get inside this building, I'm not just saying this. It's what I've been told. This is one of the most state-of-the-art buildings in the emergency management business that there is in the state.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Right. In fact, the amphitheater right now that was built by trade school kids and volunteers is booked out 85% of every month.
Wow.
Between the fire department, police department, DPW,
police, everybody, right? Military looked at the facility. Sure.
In fact, we had one last night. Was Pop Warner.
Oh, yeah.
I had an open night, and the firefighters wanted to be able to replay the games on the big screen. They used the amphitheater. Those kids were absolutely silent. I thought I was watching Belichick in motion.
What was the coaches there and everything? And they were just, Wow, that's cool, huh?
It was DiMaggio from the fire department.
Oh, yeah.
He was the coach.
Yeah, that's good.
I was impressed.
That's good.
Right, and the parents come in. They says, "I can't believe this is in Leominster."
Yeah, that's what people say all the time. Again, if you want to reach Jim, you can go to the website, but you can reach Jim at 978-534-7580. And there are plenty of volunteers down there that could take you through the building on October 12th. If you can't make it, give them a call. They'll schedule some special time for you down there. I know that during the ice storm and as well as the snowstorm that hit us on Halloween, we really relied on the services of the emergency management. We're flooding when people's basements flood. And there's one other full-time employee.
Oh, yeah, Debbie.
And then it's all volunteers after that run this pretty big operation.
Right, it's about 50, 60 volunteers. We got about 15 that are on the go all the time. So it's a busy place.
Let's see, let's do photos of the week. You guys ready for that? Or do you need my help in that? Let's see. Pictures of the week. Let's see where we are. An empty plate at the table. This is a sign of the month here, which is the Domestic Violence Month. And they set this up every year as a reminder of those that will not sit at the kitchen table or are not with us anymore. And it's the empty plate at the display is set up every year at City Hall. Great movie. Let's see. There's Linda Donato, worked in the city assessor's office for 30, well, all in all, I think she's worked for the city 37, 30, maybe close to 40 years in the city in different capacities. And what a loyal, hardworking employee, really gives it her all, really helpful to the public and businesses when they come in. And we hate to see her go, literally. We're not happy to see her go, but she's eligible for retirement. She's certainly stayed way longer than she needed to
Hard
stay.
to replace
It is
experience.
very hard because in the assessor's office, even with technology today, it's very complicated.
Right.
And a lot of times, you know, taxation isn't easy to understand to begin with. So the opportunity to be able to come in and talk to somebody that can walk you through it so you can see, this is my tax bill, this is why I'm taxed like this. Or maybe there's a problem and I'm being taxed on something I don't own. We need to fix that. And Linda was very patient with the public and on something that sometimes can be confusing and frustrating, and just did a remarkable job. So we're gonna miss her.
As you know, I come from industry. And when I come from industry and I see the strong team that you have in the city of Leominster, it's impressive.
It is, and we have a great team.
Yes.
And everybody, I think, realizes how every department plays into the whole goal.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just one department that plays a major. So they may lead the effort in particular, but we need everybody to sort of come along with it. For years, it was difficult to explain to, say, the police department why they're so important to economic development, or fire departments. You know, some departments get it, but they would think, well, why? I mean, we're just out there. Well, because if you have a downtown that's safe, you have neighborhoods that's safe, people are going to want to move there. You know, all of that plays into it. Everything done. So everybody matters here.
Oh, absolutely.
To the team.
I-
And it's important we're pushing in the same way.
I think it was so important the way I saw the school disaster plan pulled together between Lieutenant Freyer,
Right.
Dan Kerouac,
Yep.
myself, and Paula. The plan that you've got right now, when we met with those guys out of Texas on the alert program, they said we're way ahead of everybody else.
Let's give another picture here, guys. Look at that, huh? The Carter
Oh, that's
Junior High, the Carter High School.
That's amazing what's
Really
going
coming
on.
along. Those windows are going inside. It's really starting to shape up.
Yep.
After the first of the year, they should be taking occupancy into some of the building, but
really?
it is nice. I worried, literally worried that, you know, that building would have to come down. And that's, you know, we've lost some historic buildings in town, but
That would've
that
been
is
a
not
shame.
one that we wanted to lose.
No.
Next one is geez, that doesn't look like North Street. That is a water break that we had on Spruce Street. The DPW was right out there with the water department fixing that break. Road closed to traffic. That seems like a normal sign these days, but North Street, just starting to figure this one out now, finish it up.
Yep.
We're on the downstrip. So right now they're finishing raising structures. They're going to start with the final coat of payment on the 7th. And it's going to take them a couple weeks to do that whole length. They have to start
All
from
the
the
way down
Leominster
to
side
Fitchburg.
on Main Street and go all the way to the Fitchburg side down there by the Dairy Queen or Carol's Dairy Bar, whatever
Yeah.
they call it. So
Wow.
big job. It's going to take them a while to do it. Also doing Granite Street. What street is this now? I think that's Elm. So Elm Street is getting done. So they're grinding down on Elm Street. North Main Street work continues. Again, they're raising the structures. They'll probably be out there to pave. I'm not sure what the weather. They're saying rain either tomorrow and Friday. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's what it looks like. So that will, you know, they'll get down there and pave it as fast as they can. Gas company's working on Franklin Street. You know, bringing in new service, updating service, but also bringing in service to homes that never had gas because maybe we didn't have the capacity to share it with them. And look at that. Number one, the 5 most affordable places to live in Massachusetts, and guess who's right on the top?
Leominster.
1453. Shoreland has it all, open every day from 10 to 5. We were up there today for our department head meeting. It's just a beautiful venue. Now, what we have to watch out for is that we don't have a heavy frost and then pouring rain right after it, because that'll take down all the leaves. So if we get a little bit of rain now and it cools off for the weekend,
Yep.
but then not a lot of heavy rain after that, we're going to see a beautiful week next week. And just from
nice
up
color.
top there, you can see everywhere. So they have pumpkins and every kind of apple you can ever imagine. Remember, when you support that, you're supporting your backyard, you're supporting your farm. City-owned and volunteer-run. Mrs. Bedoin's Pre-Street Getting Garden up there at Shoreland Farms. We had Maria Cupo up there from Piccolo School. preschool. They were up there today. They had a tour of the, same thing. They do a little
we saw
tour,
them,
and
yeah.
they go out and pick apples, and
Yeah.
so we saw them up there. And congratulations to our newest police officer, Corey Vasquez, a great addition to the Leominster Police Department, a great addition to the area, and he's going to be a great addition. He lives here in town, and we're really excited to have him on. And great, proud moment to be able to appoint somebody like
He's a good
Corey
guy.
Vasquez,
Oh,
great
yeah.
guy. And we got a couple more. We got a couple more coming out of the police academy, and we're taking another transfer from Pittsfield. This person is from Lancaster. I guess they've been driving out that way to Pittsfield all the time, so we're taking on a new person. Route 12 hearing that went on yesterday. This is the improvement they're going to be making in front of the Water Tower Plaza, and some good questions asked there last night. They talked about how they're going to signalize it and get all the signals to work together, so they're not working independent of each other. So it was a good meeting, and we'll have another. They'll be at 75% design, and to really get going on maybe bidding this thing next year. I was hoping to be a little sooner, but
A lot of accidents there.
there's a lot of accidents between the hospital and the McDonald's area and Water Tower Plaza and North Main and Hamilton Streets.
Yeah.
So that'll get corrected. And DPW. So we had a little bit of a problem at the end of that handicap ramp. There was a little bit of a lip. Blacktop. A couple people had fallen, so we sent them out there today. They ground it all down, put new blacktop down, and you'd never know. It's perfect. So now it's coming from the parking lot. It's safe. Coming out of City Hall, once again safe. Thanks to the DPW workers that were out there today. That was a big help. And guess what we did today? We walked to school. So we went up to Our Lady of the Lake Church.
Really?
And all the kids show up by bus, and they bus them all up there. I don't know how many kids. It must have been 600 kids. And everybody walks to school. They do this every year. And we all walked to school this morning. We walked from Our Lady of the Lake to over to Johnny Appleseed School. We had a lot of fun, talked to a lot of people. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's-
There we are crossing them. They made it to the finish line. There it is, Johnny Appleseed School. They're real excited.
Almost like fun, too.
Oh, it is. It is. And then,
Talking about the DPW, that sidewalk they put on the Cedar Street side is awesome. Much
Remarkable.
much safer now, because the veterans use that
Yes,
backside
yes.
for mental health clinic, and way better now.
Very
All the
important.
neighbors came out congratulating the guys that did the work.
they did an excellent job.
Oh, yeah.
Great crew. There we are at a department head meeting this morning. We had it at Shoalin Farms. The rain held off, so we're lucky for that. And there's this kids getting a little tour in their tractor of Shoalin Farms. And that's it. That's what we have, kids. You guys are going to help to keep me. Oh, is there any way you can get a cup of water back there? Even if you stick it out the window, Brad, and just let the raindrops in there. I forgot to grab it on the way in. Thank you. Yard waste pickup is October 7th to November 30th. Please remember to use only paper, biodegradable bags, and open barrels only. They will not take anything that's in plastic, even if it is biodegradable, because we don't know. So the guy goes by, he thinks it's just plastic. So that's very important. So you can put them in paper bags. You can put them in other sort of products, but they have to be biodegradable. So October 7th to November 10th. So get those things out there. Get those leaves out there. We pay one price. So the more you get out there, that doesn't affect our price at all. But what we can't do is the week after the program ends, send people up there because it's going to end in December. So we can't just, it's 5,000 or 10,000 a week to send those crews back out there. Watching Inside Leominster, my name is Dean Mazzarella, Mayor for the City of Leominster. And, we're talking about emergency management. Jim LeBlanc is my guest. And let's talk about a little bit about some of the other pieces of emergency management, like communication.
Yeah, communication is a pretty active group. The ham radio people work test out every Sunday morning, and that goes pretty much all over the country. Then they'll run a separate program for communication, call taking. That goes on each week on Saturday mornings. And then we'll test we have a duplicate dispatch center for the fire and police. That gets tested on Saturday mornings. So we try to make sure that everybody's up to speed. So if you get that call, everybody's ready.
Everybody's ready. And you spend a lot of time training,
A lot of time
getting
training.
prepared. And that's what it's all about. And it's the other. I think the other art is sort of not getting away in the police and fire, but being there as a resource for them, so that you're helping them out.
So we're in the background. And as you remember the 2008 ice storm, how the coordination at that emergency operations center, you actually gave us the okay at 2 o'clock in the morning to start pulling in vehicles out of New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
When people woke up in the morning, all they could hear was chainsaws all over town.
It was like, what's going on? It was a big storm. A lot came down. I think everybody was sleeping. You could hear the trees falling.
Did the storm go around us? How many times did we hear that?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And so, listening lately, you hear all the acorns, and at night you can hear sometimes a little branch or something falling. And I was just remembering how I could hear
that night.
And I had come back from an event at the Fake Club in Fitchburg, and so I'm on my way down. I realized on South Street these trees are coming down in front of me, and I'm going around them, and I can see my rearview mirror. This is going down all over the place, and I'm like, this is serious. Yes. And so I never got to bed that night. I just stayed up, and then we started rallying the troops around 2 in the morning, saying, you know, we lost a lot of the city's electricity's going out, just big puffs, you know, big transformers blowing. And I'm thinking, this isn't going to be good, right? And so we did. We started to start calling companies that could, tree companies that could work on live lines that are approved by the electric company, because we knew everybody would be pulling for resources. So we got generators and chainsaws and these companies to come out, and these little grapplers, and we did. You're right. People came around like, what storm? But it's when you're all electricity, 10 minutes is a long time.
In fact, the governor came down the following day because he heard what the heck's going on in Leominster.
He couldn't believe it. He's like, I gotta see this operation. And DeVell Patrick came down. He was just like floored. He said, this is amazing. You know that. And in fact, we had put a call out to other communities later on. That started something new with emergency management, where now mutual aid goes beyond police and fire departments.
That's right.
And now they put the call out to other departments to see if there are things that they need, that you know that they have that you might need, which helps us in our efforts, because you can own 1 million generators and still not have enough.
Right. In fact, we used that mutual aid system with Fitchburg Emergency Management last winter for the warming center.
Exactly. Tell us about that. That's a pretty interesting story.
When the local church that used to take care of the homeless on the extreme cold days were told, because they had no sprinkler systems and safety places, the insurance company was going to put them out of business, you mentioned to us, we need to do something for these people in these extreme cold days.
Right.
We had the facilities, we put together a plan, and we covered, I think it was 13 days. We had up to 14 homeless people at different times. We even helped out Fitchburg.
Right.
And kept all these people safe.
Yep. No, and they fed them, and they could take a shower at the emergency management center. And again, that's, you know, a lot of it's volunteer driven, but you know, these things come up, and it's in a city today of our size, almost every day something comes up.
Every day.
You really have to be prepared, and that means having a good team effort and having everybody on board willing, so that people put personalities, ideas, agendas aside for the common good of the city, so that we can get things done, and it gets done.
In fact, it was a couple of years ago, you asked about starting up a fire survivors program for the people burnt out of buildings.
Right.
That has been unbelievably
Tell us about that, because we have one section, it's got books for the kids.
We have one section where it's all set up, where people, 111 Mechanic Street, we brought all those 16 people over, we put the kids in one area, we gave them teddy bears, comic books, we set them up with TV, we set up another area for the state police, and the arson investigation. Red Cross was set up in the dining area. All of those people ended up being better off after the fire than they were prior to the fire.
Right. We even helped some of them get apartments for later on.
Yep.
You know, that was a big deal. So, just so you don't forget, before Jim leaves, we're talking the emergency management open house. It must be here. Kind of set it aside. Open house, October 12th.
October 12th.
10 to 3, you can see the equipment, you can see a lot of people have never been inside the building. Perfect time, come on down.
I took some neighbors through just a week ago, and he says, I've been wondering what's going on in here. He says, I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Yeah, no, and you've done a great job down there.
Yeah, thanks.
And even when you helped volunteer, you did a great job. And I don't know, how many years now?
It was 53 years,
Wow.
and then I became paid for the job. In
Imagine
fact, you
that.
told me I should pay you for the job.
That's right. All this time volunteering and to finally get a paycheck, which you end up giving half back anyway.
Well,
right?
yeah, a couple times.
But we have good equipment. We have loyal
We have
people,
very good
volunteers, and we're getting things done, and we're prepared in the event that something
Oh, yeah.
happens, and that's what it's all about.
We're ready.
Come on down to the open house. A, see what goes on down there, but B, see if there's an opportunity for you to help out. And part of what we do now is train you, and maybe you can't make every meeting or every event, but we'll train you so you have those skills. And then when we need, and we need somebody from the workplace to come and help us,
right.
they're already familiar with what goes on and what the procedures are.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
Good to see you. Keep up the good work.
Oh, thanks.
Guys, if you're ready back there, we'll take a short break, and then we're going to come back and chat about some other events that are happening in the city, which emergency management is always there, no matter what it is, to provide first aid, tents, whatever it is we need. They're always there. Taking a short break. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella, the mayor for the city, and yes, you're not going to believe it, but we're live right from the Cannoli Fest.
She's got shells, she's got cream, that's so good they'll make me scream. I'm in love with the queen of cannoli. She's got a ricotta and a cherry, she's the girl I'm gonna marry. I'm in love with the queen of cannoli. When she takes them to a contest at the county fair, at the end of the day, she's got blue ribbons in her hair. Well, just one night you'll agree, they're as great can be. Oh yeah, I'm in love with that girl. She's got shells, she's got cream, they're so good they'll make you scream. I'm in love with the queen of cannoli. She's got ricotta and a cherry, she's the girl I'm going to marry. I'm in love with the queen of cannoli. When she takes them to a contest at the county fair, at the end of the day, she's got blue ribbons in her hair. Well, just one night you'll agree, they're as great can be. Oh yeah, I'm in love with that girl.
Doesn't get any better, right? Doesn't get any better than that. Cannoli Fest had to be postponed from tomorrow night, the 3rd, to the 10th, just because we need to give them, looking at the weather Monday and Tuesday, clearly was saying that it was going to rain. So even the threat of it, these people spend a lot of money getting ready and preparing the regatta and shells and getting all their staff in place. And it's not the sort of thing that you can just turn off in 24 hours. So we really had to let them know. And based on the weather prediction for on Monday, for Thursday, it looked like rain. Not sure it'll actually rain, but that was the prediction. So we put it off to the 10th. That gives you extra time to burn off some calories and to think about what kind of cannoli you'll want. Let's get to the events if we can. As I said, a hydrant flushing will start the week of the 14th. We will pick up your leaves starting the 7th, and that rolls into November 30th. Please remember to use only paper biodegradable bag. Oh, please remember to use paper bags, open barrels only. They will not take anything in plastic, even if it's biodegradable plastic. They just don't know that it's really that material. Household hazardous waste and yard collection day, yard waste day, November 16th. And coming up, as this show's going on tomorrow, at 7 o'clock will be the Air Force Heritage of American Band. Free concert, Leominster City Hall. 7 o'clock it kicks off, performing big band favorites from the 40s and 50s and brand new songs from today's greatest jazz composers for audiences of all ages. Leominster Historic Society, tomorrow night, October 3rd, will feature Mark Bonanza and his book, Risk Takers and History Makers. That's at 7 o'clock as well at the Public Library. Oh, no, that one's at the Historic Society, and that is, again, on the 3rd of October, 7 p.m., stop by to see Mark. Red carpet comes to Leominster. We're going to do that. I'm not sure on a different date or not. We'll have to check on that. We'll let you know next week. They didn't want to do it the same day and be in conflict with the Cannoli Fest, so I'm not sure what they decided to do, but we will check. Sholin's Harvest Fest is coming up on the 12th. And apples, I mean, just incredible apples, so tasty, every single one of them, regardless of what they're Max or McGowan's or Red Delicious will be coming up soon. But everything up there, the pumpkins are beautiful and perfect. And they have white pumpkins and obviously the traditional orange pumpkins. So think about getting a little risky and maybe getting the white pumpkins. Evergreen Cemetery Tour with Mark Bonanza, 10-9. So that's the 19th, I'm sorry, 10-19. Evergreen Cemetery Tour at 10 a.m. over at the cemetery. The Halloween parade, if you're writing this stuff down tonight, a lot of people have been calling about this, is on the 19th of October, 1 to 3. The number 6 Schoolhouse District Historic Walk is going to be on the, let's see, the 21st at 7 o'clock. Standing Together to End Domestic Violence Candlelight Vigil is going to be on the 21st, 6 to 7 on the Common. And also coming up tonight, let me just check my phone. We have a event coming up at 6 o'clock inside City Hall. And this is for those that struggle, are in recovery, for those who are facing addiction, or as I said, recovery, have an opportunity to come tonight, and families who have lost loved ones through overdose. We have pictures up on the wall of them so that you don't forget them. The district attorney will be there. I'll say a few words, but really it's sort of helping to create awareness. When somebody is ready, we have a team of people that represent us in the city of Leominster, civilians as well as sworn police officers. And we have a team that we work with to help people when they are ready to seek recovery. We want to be there to help them out, help them to get transportation, help them to get into the necessary and the best rehab center that we can get them into, to get them to turn around their lives and free them from addiction and hit into that road of recovery. Dean Mazzarella is my name. We're not live tonight. We're actually taping. We're going to take another short break here while I re-energize myself here and post some other things here. But I did want to tell you, it's going to be too late, but tonight, which is October 2nd, we have an event, but you'll hear about it. But next year we'll have the event again, and it will grow, and Gardner has an excellent one. We've sort of modeled ourselves or taken some ideas from that. But we will continue to grow this event. It will always be in the fall. It will always be in October or so. And again, we try to keep in memory those that we've lost, and also try to help those who are seeking recovery or trying to maintain their recovery. Taking a short break. If you guys are okay back there, and we'll regroup, and we'll get ready for the next topics, which will be some of the projects that are going on in the city, paving, which is always important to people. Be right back.
Now, what we did is we built an amphitheater based on helping the city with training, and this is really, really busy. We booked this out 85% of the month. We built out the walls with steel studding, 3 guys. We took and we started all the steel understructure with steel studding. Once we got the steel studding in place, we had the trade school come in at that point. They covered it with 3/4 inch fireproof plywood. We started building up all of these uprights. I was leasing some space over Foster Tech when I was there. One of the guys was Exhibit Technologies. He donated all the materials for the countertops. And he said, if you pay me my labor, I'll teach the CTE kids how to apply this. So he got a hell of a skill out of this. And that didn't cost us very much at all. If you look at all the chairs that are in here, it's probably $10,000 worth of chairs. Those were donated by the Sheridan when they were upgrading their facility. If you look at this podium, It cost us the price of wood, because between myself and the trade school kids, this is what we built. And the reason why we built this is because we wanted to have all the controls right inside here. As you come around, you're gonna see this. We got dimmers for all the lights. We can control all the lights. We can control the projector screen up here. We have a full connection to the computers. At every 44 station in here, we also have a plug underneath each, and we also have a connection, so if we don't want to use Wi-Fi, we can go solid to internet. We have a full bow system that we got through a grant for communication through the federal government, because once they saw all of this, it was kind of hard not to support it for training. We also can, if you look behind you up on the ceiling, we have 2 cameras for LATV. Those can be monitored back of the communication room so that we can monitor who's ever speaking, whether it be out there in the audience or here. We can zoom in on either. We can actually take any presentation and see how we can actually move to any classroom in the building. So it's fairly high tech. I can tell you, I had a Chicago fire chief in here 2 weeks ago. He's retired. He goes, "How did you guys pull this off?" He said, "I was a Chicago fire chief and we didn't have anything as nice as this."
Jim just left us, but there's a whole tape here. There's a whole, I guess, editorial or pictorial, a little series done on emergency management. And you do show it here, but it really takes, Jim does a great job of taking us through A to Z, what emergency management does and some of the things that they have done. And, you know, a lot of times they just operate, as he says, in the background. And so sometimes people aren't exactly sure as to exactly what they do, but he does a great job of explaining how we use our resources and how at the emergency management building we're able to take private donations, those students from Center for Technical Education and Innovation, and use them, and how a lot of local companies assisted with donations to us, or they were very reasonable. When they did have to charge us, they were very reasonable with what they charged us. So it's really worth watching, and I hope if you haven't seen it yet, you will. But thank you, Jim, for coming on with us tonight. So the Heritage of America, I'll say this one last time, the Heritage of America Band, Thursday, and that's when you're going to see this show. So if you start to see the show at 6:30, I will not be offended if you change and head up to City Hall and see this concert, because it begins at 7. It's Rhythm in Blue. It's a free concert featuring the world's finest active duty musicians performing classic big band favorites from the 40s and 50s and brand new songs from today's greatest jazz composers for audiences of all ages. And don't forget, again, the Leominster Domestic Violence Candlelight Vigil, October 21st, 6 to 7 o'clock, right in the Common. North County Land Trust and the Leominster Public Library present The Natural World and How We Use It. Join us and enjoy a nature walk with award-winning podcast star Sam Evans-Brown of the New Hampshire Public Radio. The presentation is part of the North County Land Trust annual gathering and is co-sponsored by the Leominster Public Library. The event is free and open to the public. Light refreshments will be served. Again, Saturday, October 5th, 2 to 4:30 in the Leominster Public Library Community Room. Book discussions, sponsored by Elaine and Maurice Tonkin Memorial Fund. This is Tuesday, October 8th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Join the Leominster Public Library for a discussion of Mouse Eye, My Father Bleeds History by Art Spiegelman. And this discussion will be facilitated by Professor Rob Carr. Communications Media at Fitchburg State University. Registration is required. You can register by calling us at 978-534-7522. Can you get to like the ice storm part of the video there? I'd really like to show that tonight. I planned on it and then sort of thought I'm having a difficult time keeping track of time, so I wasn't sure how much we had. But if you can show that section, or any section is fine, but I did want to sort of incorporate it into part of the show today. If you guys want to roll it.
Just give us 1 second.
Sure.
To find
166 years since a history of Leominster has been published until now. And Mark C. Bedanza, publishes the book, Risk Takers and History Makers, the story of Leominster. And October 3rd, which you're not going to be able to see that tonight unless you get to the library or to the, is this one? Leominster Community Library, or October 10th at the Leominster Historic Society. October 10th, you can get admission is free, and light refreshments starts at 7 o'clock. And again, they'll unveil the book, and you'll get a chance to have a book signed personally by Mark. And again, this is Thursday, October 10th. Can you guys roll that?
We think we've got it. We'll give it a shot.
Okay. And then we'll come back and wrap up the show for you.
I'll give you a little example of what happened in 2008 ice storm. I got a call 2 o'clock in the morning from the fire department, activate the EOC. By 2:30 in the morning, the mayor was sitting in here. We were sitting over here, fire chief, police chief, DPW, forestry. Basically, the mayor said 2:30 in the morning. I want to make sure when people wake up in the morning that they know we mean business and that we're doing as much as possible. So we had trucks coming in from Pennsylvania, New Jersey, for tree cutting coming in by 7 o'clock in the morning. They were here in Leominster. We had bought as many generators and chainsaws as we could get our hands on by opening up Home Depots and Lowe's at that time of the morning. The mayor drove us to make sure that when people woke up in the morning, they knew everybody that we had a plan, and we did.
So it's almost like a caravan to some extent. And then behind this crew is the National Grid crew. They'll come out and start repairing the poles. This area, the poles haven't been that damaged, but there were a lot of trees on the. There were a lot of trees, and that made a huge difference in this particular area here.
We were so effective that when the National Grid come through, they wanted to know what the heck's going on. You got more equipment in Leominster than any place else in the state. So they followed through. We were actually the first city to come online over all of the surrounding towns to the point the state wanted to know if the storm went around us. It's just we were better prepared. We also got the most amount of money from the federal government for the city of Leominster, and we also were the first to submit because we were laying out everything. We even had a financial advisor, Greg was here, to make sure that finances were done properly from the beginning of the storm. So we registered from the time it went to a declared state of emergency all the way through. The following day, the governor was sitting in this table, and because he was rather impressed at our operation. But as you can see, we're prepared, and that's our role.
Here, I want to thank Jim LeBlanc and all the volunteers at Emergency Management, and thank Jim for coming on the show tonight, but it gives you a little flavor. Open house coming up October 12th, don't miss it. Really, go down there. You will find a way to be able to give back and volunteer, and you'll feel great about it. Just a couple of minutes left here at Inside Leominster. Again, my name is Dean Mazzarella, Mayor for the city, and each and every Thursday night we meet. Sometimes we have to pre-tape the show like we did today, but we always have a new show for you. And we take very few days off here, and I want to thank Brad and Keith and Alan for coming in today so that we could tape the show so you'd see a fresh show while I am attending the Air Force Band on Thursday night. So, in closing tonight, as we sort of wrap up the show, want to let you know we are at the very end of the North Street project. We'll finish early, and they're finishing the sidewalks and the road structures. They're lifting up the manholes. And next week, weather prohibiting, if all goes well, they'll start paving the street. Now, that's a long street from Leominster to the Fitchburg side. So it's like a couple miles. So we're probably thinking it'll be closer to 2 weeks for them to pave all of that, and then they'll be done. And there's some, a little bit of work in here and there, and sort of punch list, catch up things, but wrap up things. But pretty much, that project will be done. We are doing a number of streets, and what we've been trying to do is some of the roads, main roads, we're in tough shape. We're trying to get to those. We're doing some side streets, but We're trying to smooth out most of the main roads where, tractor trailers drive on it, get the heaviest traffic, and then work our way back. So, places like Cumberland Road, we did not forget you. Some of the other streets that are in the city that people are Sampson, Stetson Street, places like that, Flagler Road, we didn't forget you at all. In fact, we have it on the list, but Smith Street. Smith Street needs water lines first and some drainage work, then it'll get paved. So we didn't forget these things or these streets. It's just a process for us, and we're trying to get these other roads smoothed out. So Granite Street, we're up by the high school. We just did the not complete on the final coat of pavement, but Highland Ave, which comes down to Northwest School. We'll be working on the lower part of Elm Street. We are working on the end of the lower part of Constitution, the upper piece of Exchange Street. We'll be working on Mount Pleasant Ave. We have a whole host of streets that we'll be working on. They move very quickly. Merriam Ave, they are, I believe today is the last day that they have to replace all of the water lines. So now we'll have a street that's got all new water lines. We did get some complaints up in that area on quality of water. So those measures have been taken. We'll let the roadway settle, let the gas company and other utility companies get up there and do their final work, and then put on the list for final pavement, hopefully next year, if everything goes well. But in the meantime, the worst part is over, which is tearing it up, put the new infrastructure in. So the company that we're using now, it moves very quickly in the repaving process. We're on North Main Street today, which is Wednesday when we're filming the show. Raising the catch basins and structures is what we call it on North Main. Moved over to Main Street, so it shouldn't be long. Let's see. Oh, okay. So it shouldn't take long to do that lower part of Main and then North Main Street. Now, you heard me speak a little bit tonight about the road project that we have in front of Water Tower Plaza. So we're paving from North Main Street at the intersection of North Main and Main up to Washington Square, which is like around the Doyle Field area. We're not going to pave the rest because that is part of a larger project, a $6 million project, which is going to redo that whole area in front of Water Tower Plaza, Leominster Hospital, Health Alliance, down in front of McDonald's, in that area of North Main Street, Hamilton Street, and Lindell Ave. So that'll get a $6 million improvement. Those lights will all be tied in together all the way from Route 2, the other side of Route 2, all the way to Washington Street. That'll all be taken care of. So those lights will be synchronized, and they'll be working together. You'll get more directed and advanced left lane turns. So there's just a ton of things that are going to happen in the front. New sidewalks, but when you come out of Water Tower Plaza now, you won't be coming with going to a head-on direction with somebody coming from that CVS Nelson Street area. So that is why we're not paving that section. However, there are a lot of streets that we are paving. We're getting to some of the areas of streets that were in the past unaccepted, that we didn't get accepted. We're working and continue to work on those streets that are not accepted so we can get them paved. So all in all, we're trying to get to A, the streets that are the worst, B, the streets that have the infrastructure work underneath that is done. If it's not done, we want to get them done. And then lastly, our fourth step is to actually get in there and pave it. So this year what we did is, with the help of the City Council, we used $1 million state money in last fall. We used $1 million of money this spring, and we're using $2 million this fall. So we really hope that we can continue with, between the state money and city money, that we can continue to accelerate the paving project as well as sidewalks. We're doing a number of sidewalk projects downtown to get it to be 100% handicap accessible. But we did a ton of sidewalks last year. We did a lot of them this year. And what we hope to do is really accelerate that. We have some work to do with the schools. We have a grant in front of the woodblock, which is where Ryan Time is. And we're going to be able to go and do this whole new streetscaping project. And I don't mean just a few trees and benches. All the way from Mechanic Street, in front of where the employment agency is, all the way over past Rollstone Bank and ends at Manning Ave. So that's exciting. That's $400,000 grant that we're getting from the state. We're going to have to add a little over $200,000. But I mean, it's going to be, if you think the flowers and plantings are beautiful downtown right now, flags, etc., you just wait and see what this is going to be. This is really going to be really going to put the finishing touches on the downtown area. And why is the downtown area so important? Well, it's really the hub of the city. It's really literally in the center of the city. We have another restaurant that'll be opening downtown across from the Common. We have another restaurant aside of that one that'll be opening up. That's formatted and it's centered around art. Then Peter Bovensi and Brady's will be the name of the restaurant. Kim and Billy Brady are going to be opening up that restaurant where the former Fenwick's was, and a whole bunch of other things that we would love to discuss with you tonight. But I think next time when we meet on next Thursday, we'll be able to bring you up to speed on a number of other businesses that'll be coming into the city very shortly. So we are out of time. Thank you to Brad and Alan and to Keith for coming in this afternoon and allowing me to pre-tape this show so that when you're watching this on October 3rd, if you're not at the concert downtown, you have the ability to watch a fresh new program. And again, thanks to Jim LeBlanc for being our guest tonight. Well, as we say, good afternoon, good night, God bless you. Remember, the world is run by those who show up. You need to show up. Good night.
Inside Leominster is brought to you through the generous support of Colonial Insulation Company, residential and commercial insulation and fireproofing services, specializing in blown-in cellulose as well as spray foam insulation. For more information, visit their website, colonialinsulation.com, and by Medical Arts Hearing Instruments, 52 West Street in Leominster, locally and authentically providing better hearing and quality of life since 1978. www.donot shout.com.